Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. Got it. I love it. Welcome, everyone. We are live here at Dice Tower Con 2018, bringing you all the awesome board game coverage all weekend long. But first up, who are we? I'm Matt. That's Ann. And we are joined with the one, the only, Eric Lang. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing well. How are you?
So far, so good. It's finally Saturday here. We're approaching the tail end of Dice Tower Con, but we've been having a fantastic time here.
Oh,
I
I
hope the
love
con's
this.
been treating you well too.
Oh yeah. This is my 5th year, I believe. I think it's my 5th year. This is one of my 2 favorite cons of the year. I love that the size is perfect. Get to big enough to be an event, but small enough that you can actually spend some real quality time with fans. There's lots of gaming going on. I actually get to play games.
Right.
It's a little bit more chill than like the big ones like E3 or Gen Con or Origins. So it's right up my alley. And of course, it's Florida. There's a pool outside, and you can play with alligators when you get really bored.
You might not want to play with alligators. As a Florida native, probably not the best thing
Kids,
to do.
don't try this at home.
Yeah,
No,
hey, I saw you on the designer panel. What was that, Wednesday?
That's right. Oh, wow. It's Wednesday already.
Yeah, it's already been that long. So I thought I kind of chuckled to myself because you had mentioned, oh, I'm here on vacation. And I was like, oh, no, I know he's going to be on the stream on Saturday. He's up there on a panel now.
Well, my
It's-
version of vacation at a con just means that my schedule is not packed wall to wall every half hour. I got a few hours
a
free
few
here and
cons
there.
breaks. That's
Yep.
good. That's good. So have you been able to, you said you've been able to get to the floor.
Mhm.
You've been able to play a couple of games. Have there been any games that have really stood out to you in this convention? I know it's kind of more
So,
fun, but
Yeah, I actually have not. So my usual mission at these games is to learn new games. I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Oh.
I've gotten to the part where I checked out the floor, and like the thing is, I've also just come back from Origins and from some other con.
and gearing up for Gen Con right around the corner.
And so, like, I'm pretty well plugged into the next series of releases. So I
Right,
haven't
right.
seen anything that surprised me yet, or I didn't know that was coming out, or that's like right out of left field.
Right.
So I've earmarked a lot of these games to try out right after Gen Con because we spend a couple days after the show or before the show. I don't remember which, and sit down. and
Time
play.
just happens, and then you're there.
Time just happened. Oh, Gen Con, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just also travel a lot, so I can't keep my schedule
Where am
straight.
I?
Where am I? I'm in Florida.
'Cause the
Florida with the
alligators.
alligators. That's right.
That was the big dead giveaway.
So, Eric, you are a ridiculously busy man, especially in terms of game design. Can you talk to us about some of the stuff you've got coming through the pipeline?
Yeah,
in terms
sure.
of games.
So, so everything I'm talking about is stuff that I've stopped working on a long time ago because it's
Okay.
coming out, right? Every time, like, it's about from the time that we in development send our files through production to the printer and the time it comes out, it's usually about 9 months or so. So, which is great because we're not sick of the game anymore. So we get to actually play it for fun.
It's like you've made a baby in the meantime.
You got the
9 months.
9 months. There you go.
Yeah. Baby alligator.
You sent the game off to production. It's grown for 9 months, and now your baby is here, so you get to replay it and enjoy it
And
again.
without any of the morning sickness, too.
Excellent. All
pretty
right.
nice.
Well, then I'm going to name my baby, and please play my babies. We actually said that. We said that here on live TV. All right.
We did.
So, what we're talking about? So, coming up, the big one is Cthulhu: Death May Die, with which is a big box game. See, it's a big box right here. We're an imagination field, right? So, in your mind's
it's because
eye,
the green screen is making the game box invisible,
It,
right?
it is, and
Okay.
my co-designer Rob Davio actually has the game right now. He's been playing it on the show floor. So Cthulhu: Death May Die is a Cthulhu game. Hopefully, I know, right? Spoiler alert. It's a game about Cthulhu, and you guys. It's a cooperative game. You guys are playing grizzled old grizzled investigators that are well-seasoned investigators that are trying to stop an apocalyptic cult from summoning an old one. Now, there are many fine Cthulhu games out there on the market, which many of which I play and enjoy. This one is not so much about the existential horror and the angst of the unknown. It's about, there's Cthulhu, I'm going to shoot him in the face until he's dead.
That's pretty straightforward.
It pretty much is. So this game is about disrupting the cultist ritual to bring in the old one, open up a small window in which the old one is vulnerable, and shoot it in the face.
So I think you kind of answered the question I was going to ask of how do you take a property like, a Cthulhu game where there's a nice amount of them on the market, but
You
make
bet.
it unique from what is currently there. And that's, I guess, what you were saying, focusing not on the existential coming of the old one, but
Here he is. Hi.
pow.
Yep. So I mean I'm a big Lovecraft fan, right? I mean I worked on a Cthulhu LCG CCG for like 6 or 7 years. I'm no stranger to the mythos. Call of Cthulhu RPG is one of my favorite games of all time. I love the mythos, but both Rob and I were both very story-driven guys, and we wanted to look for a fresh approach to it. I would not have made a Cthulhu game if I didn't think that we had something new to offer. And turns out Cthulhu Dungeon Crawl, where you kill Cthulhu at the end, is actually pretty fresh. It's really fun, and it appeals to the power gamer, which I am one, to the core, to the tiniest nugget of a core. If you want, and it's also, I find it a little apropos for our times right now, right? Things may be a little what they are.
Hectic?
Yeah, hectic out there.
There you
Maybe
go.
some of us feel kind of powerless about to solve great things, and so let's put a name on it. Let's call it Cthulhu and shoot it in the face. So
The
now,
ultimate stress relief.
the ultimate stress. Now, having said that, by the way, it is a very difficult game. Most of the time, it's going to be like Soviet Russia. Cthulhu shoots you, right? But you're not going to win very often. It's a fully co-op game. So one of the things about it is that the investigators who have gone into this, like I said, they're seasoned, they're experienced. They've gone through and they've already dug through all the forgotten and forbidden lore and started to learn some spells in order to gear up for this, which has driven them insane already. So your investigator starts off with an insanity, like say you might have PTSD or you might have psychotic outbreaks or something like that. Which
Me or my character, because, that's true for both.
you said it, not me. And so you'll start with this insanity that will go off every once in a while. When you roll tentacles on your die and you lose sanity points, there's a number of thresholds on your character sheet. Imagine that. Right? Right, I'm doing that, showing some thresholds. It's really visual. And when you hit a threshold, your insanity goes off. So, for example, you with your psychotic outbreaks, every third tentacle that you roll, you will lose control of your character, you will run to the nearest space, and you will hit everything in that space for 2 damage. Now, that's pretty horrifying, right? But the thing is, you have it. Everybody else knows you have it. If you play cleverly around your insanity, you can actually use it to your tactical advantage.
Guys, stay away. I'm gonna go crazy in
Like
a minute.
I'm about to lose it, guys! Like every run. So Rob and I we're cinephiles, right? We love movies. We love TV. I'm a little bit more TV. Rob's a little more movies. But this game was about cinematic moments, right? We wanted to have the moment where like you're dragging the star spawn all the way from the butler's room in the mansion out to the outside to the front lawn, get them away from your friends and the cultists and the dancers you're trying to kill, and then blow them away with a shotgun at the front in front of the lawn just as he swipes and rips your leg off, right? That kind of
Big
Picturing
moments.
it in my head right now.
Yeah,
It's very
big,
visual.
Big fun moments. It still has investigation and discovery, but in every episode that you play, the episodes are standalone. But they're very, very different. They actually come in their own little box. They have their own custom rules, custom tokens, custom monsters, which are only used in that episode. So when you play one particular episode, for example, episode 1, the pilot, Blasphemous Alchemy, you start off the Miskatonic University. It's on fire. And you have to blow up a couple labs in which they're trying to summon the Great Old Ones with science, right? You blow up the labs and destroy the old one. Now, the fire tokens that are in this are only part of that episode, and with rules for how to put them out and how to stop them from spreading.
So they're unique to the different stages of the game. And I'm assuming this is all part of one overarching story
So
with
it is.
continuity.
It is not actually.
Oh, really?
No, it is. So it is Lovecraft. It is very difficult to do a campaign game in Lovecraft when most of the characters die all the time. There's a very good chance that most characters will not make it out of any session alive. It is a game of it. Look, it's Cthulhu, right? Yes, you get to shoot Cthulhu in the face, but it's still Cthulhu, right? You are still likely to die or go insane before the end of the game. Now, if you manage to summon Cthulhu onto the board, you only lose if everybody dies. So sometimes the game becomes about well-timed heroic sacrifices. So you may die, but maybe your friends will win it for you. Now,
right.
so the game's about 60 to 90 minutes. It's high octane, high adventure. I love it. If you and me have similar tastes in games, I think you will enjoy this one quite a bit.
So you're saying 60 to 90 minutes per episode.
Per episode that you
and
play.
then how many episodes are in the big box?
There are 6 episodes in the box, and they're all very, very different, and they're all highly replayable. So one of the reasons I wanted to have Rob work on this is he's so good at this. We have these little vignettes, B stories that are going on in the background of every living. Like the game is alive. There's things going on in the background while you're doing this, and so that comes up in Discovery cards and in Mythos cards. You only see a small portion of those every game, and the order that they come up tells a slightly different story every time you play. So we basically it's almost like 6 game modes. On top of that, which elder one that's actually being summoned, whether it be Cthulhu or Hastur, that one has a completely different effect on the game too. They come in their own box and they add their own Mythos cards and their own custom tokens. So if you're playing the pilot episode with Cthulhu, it'll be a very different game from the pilot episode with Hastur.
Are you choosing which one of the old ones that you want to incorporate into your episode?
Yeah, you can choose or randomly.
Okay.
Either pick a random episode and a random elder one, or you guys just agree on which one you want to play.
And you were talking a bit about how this is a dungeon crawler, and I understand that it's not an overarching storyline between the various episodes, but you mentioned, okay, dungeon crawler, and then Cthulhu, or I guess in this case Hastur, also is going to be at the end. Is that at the end of each episode?
At the end of each episode.
Okay.
You're shooting them over and over.
Over and over again?
Oh, yeah. It's like Groundhog Day, but with Tommy guns and tentacles and magic spells.
I'm in.
Sounds very cool. Talk to me a little bit about the investigation and how that works. I know we're rolling tentacles, and that's going to impact our level of insanity. The main goal in each episode is to kind of get to the old one and shoot it in the face.
Right.
I love stories. I love side quests. I like the investigation. How much of that is kind of in this game?
So they dovetail. So let's take the first episode, for example.
Sure.
Blasphemous Alchemy. So in the background, there is this story going on, which is actually it's very closely intertwined with the game. Now, there is a deck called the Discovery deck. It's a 15-card deck, unique to every episode.
Okay.
If you, at the end of your turn, you're going to be doing your run and gun, go around, find cultists, blow away cultists, destroy monsters, destroy set pieces, do all that cool stuff, like lots of destruction. However, if you end your turn, when you finish your turn, if you are in a safe space, that's a space without enemies, you get to make a discovery. You get to draw one of those discovery cards with these big, long, tarot-sized cards that tell you a little micro story. They tell you part of the story that's going on in the background.
Okay.
And they usually allow you to make a choice or face a circumstance or a test of some kind that will let you claim either the right side of the card or the left side of the card, depending on what you've done but previously or what the choice that you make at that time. So, for example, while the Miskatonic University is being blown up, there's a bunch of students, harried students, and a professor that's caught in this weird love triangle that going on. You can find some of these students. Some of them will love you. Some of them will absolutely hate you. Some of them don't like each other.
Okay.
And so, depending on the order that you find them, you'll make a choice. So, one, for example, a terrified student sitting there, huddled in fetal position in the wall, like you can help him out, which will cause you a lot of stress, which is something that you have to use to make rerolls, or you can just leave him there, take his stuff, but then you'll get a guilty conscience, and that'll go on the other side of. The other side of your thing, and that guilty conscience is going to come back and bite you from time to time when more Mythos cards or Discovery cards come up.
Oh, that's very cool.
So they are very, very intertwined, and they do. Now, Discovery cards are always positive. You always want to make discoveries because it always gives you cool stuff. So it highly incentivizes you to try to be safe at the end of your turn, or at least coordinate in your party who's going to be safe.
But it kind of sounds to me like when you were talking about the order that you're doing these things may impact how these discoveries impact the game in general.
That's right.
Even though they're positive and you're wanting to go for the discoveries, when it comes to replayability, you may want to try doing your well, is it a random deck, or it's going to change how your game flows each round?
It's a random deck, and what that does, that is like I said, it's a B story that's going on the side type, so it's going to force you it's going to help you adapt. Right, so as you play and you make different discoveries, you will be able to change your game plan a bit. The game plan first starts off as we got to do this horrible, impossible thing.
Right.
Right, but then you're going to get help from either cool stuff that you pick up or allies that you pick up, or make a discovery about the game that'll actually unlock a different part of the game for you. Like that, every deck works differently, every backstory works differently. It just depends. So the more help you get, the better. But you will have to be think fast on your feet and adapt. The strategy is always the long view is disrupt this ritual, different every episode, kill that old one. That's the only way you can win.
Right. Well, it's always about, I mean, in a game, you have a win condition, you have an objective, but games are about, to me, personally, about being immersive.
That's right.
And the journey that it takes to get to whatever that condition is, especially with co-op. You really want to enjoy the story that's going on, and I think it's really cool that you don't just have your straight line there. You have the B-side game, the B-side around the game, and that's going to impact what's going on.
Absolutely, and you want to be involved in it, right? Because if you completely ignore it, you are probably not going to win the game.
Well, and winning the game means at least maybe hopefully one person survives.
Exactly right. Well, so I'm a big believer in that, right? So I want games to be strategic and have interesting decisions and all that stuff, but I'm very fussy about when we work on the game that the things that are fun to do are also the ways that you win the game. So there's not a lot. I mean, we try. We're not always right, but we try that. So it's not always a trap. Oh, this looks really fun. Oh, don't do that. You'll lose, right? Like, we try as much as we can. Now, not all the fun things are correct to do all the time, right? That wouldn't be a game. Sometimes you'll have to adapt.
Very cool. So you mentioned that this is co-op. How many players does this game play?
1 to 5.
So you can play
That's
a solo
pretty
variant.
cool.
Yes, you can.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, Kickstarter, we're listening. You can play solo mode.
That was very cool. And what kind of an age range is this? I mean, the game seems like it's got a lot of moving pieces. It seems...
The game rules are actually very simple. The metric I use is, can I teach my wife how to play in 5 minutes? And it is, the setup is the longest part. Like, setup takes about 5 minutes, but by setting up the game,
not that long.
you teach the game.
Yeah.
So you set up all your little tiles, and you put out your monsters, and you take the Mythos deck that's provided by the episode. You take the Mythos decks provided by the Elder One. You shuffle them together. But like once you're doing that, you're reading all the specific instructions for that session. But after that's run, gun, discover, and then react.
Okay. So hopefully, family game.
I mean, it's Cthulhu.
Gamer game?
So
Yeah.
I would say it is what the stars that I always reach for is really, really simple to learn, but with lots and lots of depth. Players who play tactically well will do better than players who do not. So yeah, like a group of 6-year-olds at the table, unless they're gamers' kids. My God, gamers' kids. Like at that point, I'm like 4 and up, doesn't matter. But
as long as they're not eating the pieces, let them at it.
You gotta teach them early, right?
Oh my God, gamer kids are ridiculously smart. So I would say like. By components, it's 14 plus, right? Because we have a lot of big miniatures. Imagine we had amazing miniatures, right? They're plastic and stuff. So I know this is live stream, but imagine, right? So we have a little cutaway there, like you see Cthulhu, roar. See right there, right? See that ad there? Imagine that's Cthulhu going roar with his wings and his tentacles. It's really cool.
It's really awesome. I mean, I saw it.
I did in your mind's eye.
Mm-hmm.
That's what imagination is all about.
Exactly.
So we're really, really excited for this game out now. Future soon to be released.
The Kickstarter is next Tuesday. It begins
That's
next
so
Tuesday.
Right around the corner.
In fact, I actually convinced our executive producer to hold off the Kickstarter instead of doing it last week, this week, so I could promote it here at Dice Tower. And then start the Kickstarter right after Dice Tower. So
do you guys have your pledge levels figured out? What kind of levels are we talking about for the game?
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that, unfortunately.
Okay.
So if you saw the game, and so
the imaginary box is pretty big.
It's the same size as the Rising Sun box. It's a big box, and it's thick, right? And it's got lots of cool minis. We've been showing them on our Facebook page, on our Twitter account. Follow us at CMON.com.
There you go.
CMONGames.com. And the CMON Facebook page has lots of updates daily, written by our wonderful Sean Jacquemin. Sorry, I got into corporate plug mode here.
That's why they put you on the stream, right?
Right here.
Exactly.
Yes. Watch our stuff. But there's a lot of information on that already. So we've revealed a lot of the minis and a lot of the investigators. So there's a lot of stuff in that box.
Very cool. Very
Fantastic.
cool.
And it is a CMON game, so you've seen how our Kickstarters go in the past.
Oh, absolutely.
It's almost as if we like games with lots of stuff.
Yeah. You're guaranteed to get a lot of stuff in the box, that's for sure. Eric, thank you so much for stopping by. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk to us today before we say goodbye?
Let me see. Oh, yeah, so I talked about Death May Die. We have more games coming out before the end of the year. Check this out. So we have Victorian Mastermind, that's designed by myself and Antoine Boza for the last 4 years. Victorian Steampunk, Picture It, Gaslight. gaslight Europe with mad science, big contraptions and machines that plays 45 to 60 minutes, 2 to 4 players. Got lots of little agents on gear-shaped chips. Got blueprints. Everybody gets their own ship to work on, and you do evil missions, and you capture buildings and kidnap scientists to work on your thing, all for points because it's a family game.
I'm so in. Everything you said there just checks all the boxes on my hit list there.
It is a game that game is the ultimate meeting of the minds between Antoine and myself. It's coming later on this year, Q4 2018. Let me see. We've got stuff. We got
lots and lots and lots.
Do we have stuff? So I stopped working on the game a long time ago, so Antoine, but it's just been going through production for a long time. We just announced Sugar Blast, which is this is a thing that I definitely want to talk about because it's CMON, right? So one of the things that when I joined CMON, I wanted to make sure that we to solidify our identity, right? Our company we're a production-heavy company. Of course, we put all of our love into the games. We make games we love for people who love the games like that. But our games have to be touchable and cool and look amazing on the table. And obviously cool.
Do you have cool minis in your games?
Or not.
Or not.
So we're actually, I actually signed a bunch of games that have no minis in it, but they have great components.
Okay.
All right. So Gizmos is coming out at Gen Con, which is a game by Phil Walker Harding, who's amazing. Did Sushi Go, Imhotep, Baron Park, Cacao. I'm a huge fan of him. I've signed. It was the first game I signed for CMON, coming out at Gen Con. It's got a great little contraption that's in the middle, but it's an engine building game about building engines. It's really cool.
This is the gumball. It looks like a gumball.
It looks like a gumball
We got
machine,
to. I got to check that out at Origins.
Oh, cool!
It's very cool.
Yeah, I love that game. So that's a good glimpse into the direction that we're going to go for our more family.
Fantastic table presence.
Yeah, we're definitely going for that. So Sugar Blast is a game that by Ben Rossett and Matthew O'Malley, who designed Between Two Cities, which is a really for Stonemaier games great tile placement game. I'm a big fan of the game. Big fan of them too. So Sugar Blast is it's a match 3 game on a big plastic board that tilts depending on which side you are on the table, with cool replay elements like special powers shared by the players and different goals for every game. It's highly replayable. It's 15 to 20 minutes, designed to be played by families. I can teach anybody how to play in 2 minutes. Fully, completely every bit of it, end to end, but it's tactical and it's cool. So that'll be coming in Q4 2018.
A lot of Q4 releases.
It's a true fact. So that game is also it's a continuation of where we're going with Gizmos. It was actually the second game I signed for CMON, and there are more games like that. So we're not only doing the big box games with heavy minis, we're also doing these family games with great components, very touchable and
the tactility is.
Yeah.
I think that's a word, right?
Exactly.
It
Tactilerific.
I like it. I'm gonna have to start using that one from now on.
Agreed.
All right, Eric, thank you so much for stopping by. We really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And thank
you,
everyone
sir.
for watching at home. We're going to be signing off for now, but stay tuned for some more coverage coming throughout the weekend here at Dice Tower Con 2018. For now, though, I'm Matt.
I'm Ann.
Have a good one, everyone.
Have a great